The Bavarian Soviet Republic. This state was declared on April 6 by communists and anarchists after a recent left-wing revolution in Hungary. Unfortunately, the Weimar government and the Freikorps were able to crush the insurrection, and the state was now another puzzle piece to the National Socialists of Germany. We are planning to change that. We will begin planning a revolution against Hitler, allying with the Democrats and the monarchists against him. Once the Civil War started, Bavarian nationalism was able to turn our state into an independent nation. Unfortunately, the anti-fascists in Germany failed and the Nazis took back control. We will change that, but we are powerless at the moment. So let's get stronger. The Bavarian nation would make attempts to stabilize the government to prevent any stronger state from trying to turn our government into one more loyal to them. However, things began escalating as more and more people started to lean against the monarch. Eventually, Ruprecht von Bayern was relieved of his services in the military. Oblivious to what was going on in the nation, von Bayern decided to raise the economy law from civilian economy to partial mobilization to prepare against any threat looming. Eventually, more and more people would remember our past. More and more people would remember the Soviet Republic during the times of the Weimar government. The Bavarian government eventually swept away the democratic parties to keep stability within the nation, but this stability won't stay for long. While this political mess was happening, von Bayern decided to reorganize the military. This would grant a lot of benefits, the most important being army experience. He also decided to invite German factories to Bavaria to stimulate the Bavarian economy. Eventually, von Bayern was assassinated by a political extremist, leading to the leadership of Heinrich Himmler. We cannot allow this. We will expand the support of communism within Bavaria. Meanwhile, Ernst Thälmann was spotted in Munich after fleeing from Germany. The communists instantly took this opportunity to put him as the new leader of the party. The dreaded civil war has begun in Bavaria, and we are the Soviet Republic fighting against the Nazis of the North. We will instantly begin raising Bayerland Volkskorps, which are divisions with one cavalry unit. This was why the army experience was important. Once they were ready to rise up, they all valiantly walked into Nuremberg and ended the Civil War. After our grand victory within Bavaria, we were now ready to secure our government, forever keeping Ernst Thälmann in the government. He will pave the way to Bavarian socialism and will be the man to unite the Danube. After his spot was secured, he started looking towards forming a South German Confederation. His dreams would be to put the Nazis on a chokehold. Bavarian diplomats were sent to Austria to improve relations, and a plan to invade them was worked on. Eventually, Thälmann gave the order to his ambassadors. He told them to convince the Austrian Chancellor, Kurt Schuschnigg, to complete annexation. While this was happening, a civil war was raging in Italy, a war between the fascists and the Democrats. This could be very important later on, but Ernst Thälmann has decided not to mind it, for the side fighting against the fascists were liberals. Thankfully, the Austrians shook hands and united with their South German brothers. Our military marched onto Switzerland. Our diplomats also decided to improve relations. Shocking news has arrived from the USSR. A civil war between the Trotskyites and the Stalinists was ignited, and the fascists won the civil war. This news was completely overshadowed by the fact that the Swiss would accept complete unification with us. After these moves, the best course of action to do next is to go for Germany. We began influencing the Germans with propaganda to get them into a bloody civil war. Meanwhile, the Trotskyites were able to win in the civil war.
Now that the military has 400,000 men, we were able to make our grand move. We influenced German politics as we know it and started a class war within Germany, eerily similar to the First Civil War in February of 1936. What we didn't expect was the extreme move the Germans would pull off against our state. They created a new axis, inviting Italy in. This would leave our flank completely vulnerable. We immediately began moving divisions to the Italian front, wasting no time. They made heavy pushes as the movement of our divisions left them with no organization. Meanwhile, we were pushing well into the German front. We had the chance to encircle them. We just needed an opportunity. Eventually, we did encircle them, destroying one tank division. Germany, in an act of panic, declared war on Poland. Czechoslovakia followed suit. What came next was extremely worrying. Czechoslovakia joined Germany's faction. Thankfully, they didn't plan on joining the war yet, so we had ample time to destroy the Nazis of the north. We eventually swept through Leipzig and encircled one division, but it didn't matter as the Czechs would let them into their territory. We staged a massive assault in Weimar, and with the help of our German brothers we were able to sweep through, devastating their front line. Our great leader, Ernest Thälmann, decided to change the conscription law to have service by requirement. This would hurt our economy, but we need more Bavarian men if you want to survive. A military general made a mistake, causing the front line to collapse. To prevent them from going any further, we turned to more defensible lands.
In the background, Berlin has fallen. After the Poles blitzed through German territories, they surrendered. This means that we could move our men to the Italian front. After our front stabilized, we split up our men into 3 corps. The Austrian Corps, keeping the Italians from pushing through Austria, West Alps Corps, and East Alps Corps. In the West Alps front, the Italians made a blunder by leaving a tile open. This would allow for the encirclement of 1 division. What we didn't know is that since they still had friendly tiles behind them, it wouldn't count as a full encirclement. It would be a fierce battle trying to destroy this division. In the East Alps Corps, we were able to capture Tra with our German allies. One thing that we weren't able to notice was that a large portion of the Italian army was encircled between our states and the Alps. If this pocket would be completely closed off, it could spell disaster for the Italian front. Bad news came when Czechoslovakia joined the war with Italy. Thankfully, our German brothers could help hold against Czechoslovakia, but this would mean that they wouldn't be able to help us on the Italian front, which is sad, but it is something that we can manage. We managed to spot a major blunder in the East Alps pocket, as they would leave 1 tile open. We wasted no time and swept through this tile, widening the front of the 10 divisions that are trapped. Bad news arrived as Tra was retaken by the Italians by a single cavalry unit. This bad news was overshadowed by good ones, as we were able to pop the West Alps pocket. Even greater news was reported when a massive breakthrough was executed within the Alps, leading to a total collapse in their front lines. With this breakthrough, a new corps was made, the Piedmont Corps. We attacked a tile that only had 1 division guarding it, as if this tile was taken, this would lead to an encirclement of 4 divisions in Cha. It was here when a general hatched a massive plan. If the Bavarians are able to break the front line between the Alps, the East Alps Corps could complete the encirclement, spelling victory for our armies. In the Piedmont front, we were able to take Milano. Good stuff. We were winning in the back flank of the mountains. However, our general didn't notice the Italian division moving into this tile here, which could encircle 2 divisions and break our encirclement plan. This went completely unnoticed until it was a bit too late. Thankfully, an offensive that was supposed to relieve the encirclement was winning. Bad news from the Piedmont Corps arrived, however. The front lines have totally collapsed, making great advances into the state. We tactically redeployed troops in Lugano to reinforce the Torino front. If Torino falls, this could spell complete disaster as supply would become non-existent. Meanwhile, the front line in the Eastern Alps have been encircled completely, and we were able to make a good offensive, but we foolishly left the tiles, keeping the encirclement open. We tried our best to reshuffle our men, but it was no use. The encirclement was relieved. While we were distracted, we were able to pop the encirclement in Cha. This means that the West Alps Corps is relieved of its work and could now be reassigned to other corps. Let's watch the invasion.
Und von Blut wie unsere Fahne war das Zeug
After all our struggles, we have done it. Our borders stretch from Switzerland to Poland, and our alliance goes from Hamburg to Sicily. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video.